Okay, and good afternoon. Welcome to Facebook Live and to Auvik's Metropolis office here in Milton Keynes. This is the EMEA UK office. We're based here in Milton Keynes. With me today is Paul Green, founder of MSP Marketing. Thank you very much for joining us, Paul.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. We're doing our second episode of our Facebook Live series. We're also doing this on Zoom, and then after our initial Facebook Live, we're going to be going into a closed webinar where people can get to know you a little bit more personally and shoot some questions off to you. So we're really looking forward to that. If people have got questions, please feel free to put them in the link and also the box on Zoom and so forth. And if you haven't registered or got access to the closed webinar after our initial Facebook Live series, please do so. The links they're available for you. So we're really looking. I'm really personally really looking forward to this episode for the simple fact that you know we want to go deeper into the MSP world, and we've spoken about MSP's owners before, Paul. The founder of MSP Marketing. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into our world of MSP, and what you're doing here in this space.
Yeah, thank you. So my 60-second story is like many business owners, I had an entrepreneurial seizure one day. So I used to be a radio presenter and woke up in 2005 with this amazing idea in my head that I should run my own business. And I went up and started a little marketing business, and it evolved over time. Got to about 2016, it was we're doing about £1 million a year in turnover. It was a specialist marketing agency for opticians, veterinarians and dentists.
Yep.
And then I sold that business in 2016. We had a really premium exit, got bored for 6 months and kind of looked back to the early days and said, well, I'm not allowed to work with those sectors I've just sold.
Yep.
What kind of businesses did I used to enjoy with? And I discovered I'd had about 20 IT support clients. So I started MSP Marketing, and that was 3.5 years ago.
Right.
And now I just work with MSPs. I love working with MSPs, and I help them. We don't do any of their marketing. We help them to grow their business, grow their net profits, get more monthly recurring revenue, get more new clients in. And it's all the aspects of sales and marketing, which of course, most MSPs want that stuff, but they find that the hard stuff. They find the technical stuff easy and the sales and marketing difficult. And yet those who get good at sales and marketing typically are the ones that will dominate a marketplace or a specific vertical.
Sure. Really interesting. We're going to dig down a little bit deeper into that sales and marketing chasm a little bit later on in our chat now, and whether it's going to be at the start of the episode or not. But, you know, you touched on a few points there. I could probably take that down various avenues, but I guess one of the things that's really important to a lot of customers, and you know, I speak to MSPs every day. I speak to MSPs on a global basis. I guess, is the messaging the same for an MSP here in the UK as what it is in Benelux or North America or Australia? Because I know you've got partners that you work with globally. Is that messaging the same? Is the core message the same? Tell me a little bit about working those geos.
That's a really interesting question, because I'm currently trying to reach MSPs in the States, and I'm discovering that MSPs in the States respond to different marketing to MSPs in the UK. At the core of it, most marketing works in the same way, because marketing is actually sort of manipulates our psychological tendencies. We're all at our core are still programmed in the same way we were 100,000 years ago, when we were cave dwellers living in caves. I mean, you're Australian, so you can probably relate to this.
It was only 15, 20 years ago.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
So we are driven by the same basic programming that we were then. This is why things like social proof works. Now, we've all heard of social proof, and we all know that most people, most of the time, prefer to do what most other people are doing because it's safe.
Sure.
So in our modern world that we've got, that's not necessarily the case, but we still act that way, which is why if you get more testimonials, reviews, case studies for your business, people, not everyone, but most people will be quite heavily influenced by those. We're heavily influenced by perceived scarcity. If there's two of us in the room and there's one biscuit left on the plate, you and I are both going to be looking at the biscuit, deciding, do we want that biscuit or don't we? So it forces us to make a decision. So there are differences in every marketplace, because American business owners, Australian, UK, there are cultural differences. Some are more laid back, some are more, more intense. But at the core of it, good marketing addresses all of the things that people need to see.
Sure.
I think the thing with selling MSP services, and this seems to be universal worldwide, is it's a really slow sales cycle. So the thing that makes an MSP a really great business to own, which is that you keep clients for 20 years and they keep paying you every month. It's chocker with monthly recurring revenue.
Yep.
Those things actually stop people leaving and going somewhere else. There's a huge amount of what we call inertia loyalty.
Of course.
It's perceptually too difficult to move somewhere else.
That stickiness factor, right?
The stickiness factor.
Absolutely.
So the thing that you benefit from and what keeps the clients with you for so many years is also why it can take 12 months to complete a sales cycle with a new prospect.
Understand.
And that's why so few MSPs are good at marketing and good at sales. And you know this, Scott, because we've talked about this a lot. That if you can get even slightly better at marketing and sales, then you have a dramatic advantage, and that's worldwide.
That's a really good point. So it's that I hate to use the term, the acronym USP, but I guess that's certain MSP's USP is to offer this or offer that, and it gives them their slight edge over their competitors or whatever.
Exactly. So USP stands for unique selling proposition or selling point. Coined by I think it was an advertising executive called Rossa Reeves in the 40s or 50s. In fact, if you've ever seen Mad Men, the TV show,
of course,
Donald Draper was based on it was an amalgamation of Rossa Reeves and a couple of other guys. No MSP, very few MSPs know what their USP. We've got too many acronyms here, haven't we?
So many.
You know what their unique selling point is.
Yeah.
So you just go and look at, and I love doing this with my clients. Let's look at your website. Let's look at your competitor's website. Let's Google IT support your town. Let's look at their websites. And they're all the same website.
Yeah, it is.
So they're all versions of the same thing, and they've all got pictures of network cables and pictures. There's an American technician with a really strong jawline, and he ends up on half the website.
Nice.
And they're all saying the same things and talking about being Microsoft Gold partners and talking about this and talking about that. And business owners and managers that you want to reach aren't picking MSPs off all of that. It's literally noise to them.
Sure.
Because the core thing is they don't know what they don't know about IT support. So they can't tell a good MSP from a bad MSP. I mean, I've been working with MSPs for 3.5 years and I can't tell a good one from a bad one. So how do we expect a normal business owner to do it? They can't. So therefore they're making emotional decisions. And when we talk about getting good at marketing, it's about things like getting a great video, a really well-made video on your homepage, with your clients talking about how good you are. That which could cost £2,000. So that single piece of marketing, that's one instance of a great piece of marketing that will last for 5 years and will really make a big difference.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And marketing or good marketing doesn't have to cost the earth either. So there are ways of doing that, and obviously that's what you're sharing with your partners. Just to recap, I just want to again, for people that are just joining us, my name's Scott Tyson. I'm the Managing Director for Auvik in EMEA. I'm here with Paul Green, who's the founder of MSP Marketing, a company that helps MSPs grow within their spaces and so forth. And we're just talking about general marketing of MSPs that we know of and speak to and so forth. And, one of the really interesting points that I want to speak to you about, and again, we could go down so many rabbit holes, but one key nugget that you see, one thing that we all have leads that come in, and we all do discovery, as we spoke about in your podcast earlier. And that discovery is to find out whether if they're a good partner for you or a good customer for you, but also if you're a good partner for them. We use that as an organization. It's called value selling and so forth. Do you do something similar? Do you walk into an MSP and have a chat with the founder or whatever and say, you know what, I just can't help these guys, or these guys I can really go to town with and really make them successful?
Interesting question. I do have a general rule, which is don't work with, let's say, idiots. But we all know what word I really want to use, and I'm not afraid of firing clients that when we haven't got the respect on both sides. But in general, if it's an MSP it's all about, I think it's about ambition and drive.
Of course.
So this marketing and sales stuff is not easy. You see a lot of nonsense on Facebook. These gurus, doing the whole, hey, you just got to buy a funnel, you just got to buy this. It's not easy. It's not easy. I know it's not easy. So but having a quick sales promotion is easy because that's a quick sales promotion. But what we're talking about here is building a long-term prospect funnel. Building a long-term, in fact, when we go into the closed webinar, when we go into just Zoom, which is, I'll do your job and just remind you to register for that if you're not already registered. It's in the links. It's in the
all right. We've got some questions coming up, so I'm looking forward to that.
What we're talking about here is building a 5-year or a 10-year prospect funnel. So I mean, in my last business, which I sold in 2016, so we had 12,000 prospects in a database.
Sure.
And that's 12,000 people who've opted in, and that cost about £150,000 to build that database. We just mined that database again and again and again and again. And when I sold that business, I sold the database. And even now, 3 years on, they haven't added to that database, but they're still mining that database today, the new owners, because that was one of the things I sold. And that's, if I still own that business, I would still be mining that database. Because if you've got 12,000 prospects and you only need a couple of hundred clients, there's 1,000, 2,000 clients in there somewhere.
Absolutely.
And that's at the core of it. It's not just thinking short term, but it's thinking long term.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is this a good time to mention the book?
Yeah, okay. Sure you can.
So this is a shameless plug, but I have a book. It's called Updating Servers Doesn't Grow Your Business. Now it's completely free. So it says $4.99 on the back. And it is on Amazon, or not that Amazon have any copies to sell you, but you can get a copy completely free, because a lot of what we're talking about here is encapsulated in this book.
Sure.
And it's not about me, it's about getting new clients for your MSP. If you go to this URL, it's freemspbook.com. It's freemspbook.com. And if you're in the UK, we will physically post you a paperback copy. And if you're international, we'll send you a PDF instantly.
Great. Sounds good. We've got a couple of questions. So one of the things I just want to recap, as I said, we're here at Auvik headquarters in EMEA, in Milton Keynes. My name's Scott Tyson. I'm the managing director of Auvik here in EMEA, and I'm with Paul, who's the founder of MSP Marketing. We have a couple of questions from the audience, which is great, and hence why I keep looking to the side. So apologies for that. The first one was, how do you start gathering social proof if you've never done that before?
That's a really great question. So a reminder that social proof is reviews, case studies, and testimonials. So let's just park reviews for a second, because they tend to gather themselves. The simplest thing to do, assuming you've got customers, ask your customers. Literally you go to your happiest customers who don't have some kind of long outstanding tech problem you haven't been able to fix, and you simply ask them. And the way to ask them is this: you say, we really want more clients like you. You are a perfect client for us, and thank you for continuing to work with us. Can I ask a favor, please? We know that other people like you respond really well to testimonials or to case studies. And these are the keywords to use. How would you feel about us building a case study with you or a testimonial?
Yeah.
How would you feel is the perfect question. Actually, for anyone who has young children, and I use this on my 9-year-old all the time. How would you feel about something? Because it's not directly saying, will you do this or won't you do this? It's gauging. Because some people don't want to do testimonials, and that's fine.
Absolutely.
Other people, I'm one of them, I suspect you're the same, that I'll do that for you if we've got a good relationship.
Of course.
Now, I would always start with social proof is start as high up as you can and work down. Let me explain what I mean by that. If you start with a video testimonial, you can then turn that video testimonial into other stuff. So if you start with a written testimonial, you can turn a written testimonial into a video, but it's not a very good one. So I would start with, when someone said, yes, I'll do that, say, great, can we come round, video testimonial, literally 20 minutes of your time, perhaps have a mobile phone or whatever. And once you've got that video testimonial, you can then turn that into a written one. You could potentially even turn that into a case study. Case study is a testimonial in story form, telling a story about something. I have a client in London who's just spent, we were saying earlier about a video. He's just spent £1,800, £2,000 on a video, which if it's not, and Ben, if you're watching this and that video is not on your homepage yet, we're going to have awkward words later, because it's a great video. It's the best selling video I've ever seen.
Great.
And it is literally 60 seconds of 3 of his clients talking about his business.
Fantastic.
So there's a bit of him in there, but most of it is his clients.
Right.
And all that took was they picked up the phone, they said, hey, we're doing a video. We've got a guy with a camera and a sound guy. It's a proper production. You're some of our best clients. We love working with you. Can we come to your place and can we do a video? And some said, no. And some said, oh my God, that would be amazing. And so you simply ask.
Sure.
To get started, you just ask.
Sure.
What stops people asking is fear. And I've seen that so many times. The fear that the client says, no, I'm not going to do a testimonial. And you know what? I don't want you as my supplier.
Wow.
That doesn't happen.
Sure.
Because the people that might do that, you wouldn't ask for a testimonial anyway. You ask the people that are your best clients. By best, I mean they're best engaged.
Of course. Yep. Great response. Actually, we're going to have one more question, and then obviously we're going to go into the closed webinar series shortly. Paul's books links in the chat in Zoom, in Zoom. So please feel free to click on that.
Thank you.
The one thing I will say that we want you to do is, if you've got more questions, please load them up. We're happy to get to them when we go into our closed webinar series after this final question. But this is a really good one. And you know, you talk about innovating and doing something different from the competition, but where do you start if you're barely doing the basics? I think that's a great question as well.
It's a great question. It's also a very big question, isn't it?
It's how long's a piece of string?
Where do you get started?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think, and my recommendation to anyone that's not doing any marketing is to do something every day.
Sure.
That's the very first thing. And I mean, literally 60 to 90 minutes every day on marketing and selling activities. Mm-hmm. The very first basic thing you should be doing is focusing on LinkedIn. So I think that LinkedIn is the #1 marketing platform for MSPs today. That may change in the future, but Microsoft, their acquisition of it just took something that was good and they have made it great because they turned it into a content marketing tool.
Sure.
And you know, I was having a chat with one of my clients earlier, and his sales guy is on LinkedIn all day long. Last week generated 7 meetings from LinkedIn.
Wow. Just
from shaking the tree. Wow. So there's three C's with LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. There's connect, content, and call. Every day, if you can connect to, what's the free version? I think it's 20 people a day.
Yep. Yeah, it is. 10 or 20. Yeah.
Attempt to connect with 18 people a day.
Sure. 3 of them
will accept. That's great because you're growing a network by 3 a day.
Of course.
Connect, and then we've got content. Put some content on every single day.
Makes so much sense.
Because you've got to be active, and the best kind of content is real content. Yep. So literally you talking to your video or you just typing something. That pre-packaged content, you know, and I supply pre-packaged content to my clients. It's better than nothing, but what is even better is real content. And
just
sorry,
to stop
one final thing is then call. Once you've connected to people on LinkedIn,
a great point.
Pick up the phone, bloody call.
That's a great point.
That's the thing that no one ever does. So my client that just generated 7 meetings, not a single one of those came off LinkedIn. He picked up the phone and phoned people he'd been chatting to on LinkedIn or who had engaged with his content. Got past some gatekeepers, not many. Had a chat. Some it was applicable to me now, some it wasn't.
Sure. Just a final question on that, because it's a follow on from that. Is there a fear of doing too much?
No, I don't think there's a fear of doing too much. I think I don't think you can do too much.
Okay.
You know, and I'm dealing with a fairly big MSP that's got 3 full-time field sales, a telesales, a full-time marketing person, and I'm pushing them to do more.
Sure.
So because the thing is, the numbers get bigger. So if you've got, that's five full-time people whose job it is, and that's not account management, that's purely new business. That's a big resource.
It is a big resource.
So actually, I'm saying to them, well, the resource you're doing here they've got, let's say 2,000 on their email list, let's say 4,000 LinkedIn connections. Well, let's double that. Let's triple that. Let's get 10,000 on the email list. Because it's the same amount of work, but you get more results.
Absolutely, there's more return.
And then let's start doing more stuff. So let's start doing events. Let's start doing webinars. Let's start doing Tech Tip Tuesday videos. Let's start doing all that. And what you can do is, as you get bigger and you have more resource, you can just do more stuff. The reason I was happy to come on this webinar, having done your Frankly MSP podcast, which was back in January, which is awesome, is because Auvik's a great example of a vendor which gets content.
Absolutely.
So you've got these webinars, you've got your podcasts, and I plug for my own podcast, which is the MSP Marketing Podcast, which episode 3 came out today, featuring this guy. Completely scheduling coincidence.
It was coincidental, but it was good.
And one of the things we talked about is, what do you do to support your vendors? And you were saying, well, we get marketing, we understand sales, because you're cracking at sales, your marketing team is good at marketing.
Oh, brilliant.
And to me, and I try to be vendor neutral where I can, until I find a vendor that gets it, that's why I'm here. Because you guys get it, and I can see the support that then you would give your clients is going to be better, because you understand, if your own marketing is good, the marketing you'll give to them is
going to be great. And to be honest with you, and of course I'm biased, but one of the things that I get feedback when I'm at events and so forth is just how good our marketing is from an Auvik standpoint, and MSPs taking that content and using it for their own growth and so forth. So I absolutely agree with you. And having that connection between, you know, various people within the industry to make sure that content's out there is massively gold for MSPs out there. So, we're gonna probably click over to the closed webinar now. But what I want to do is thank you very much for coming and joining me for Facebook Live today, episode 2, not episode 3 like yours. I want to thank everyone for tuning in out there, Facebook Live and Zoom and everything like that. You know, it's important that what we learn in our industry, I love to give back, and I know, you know, it's part of our business to do so and so forth. But, you know, things that resonate with customers. And if I get a phone call and say, you know what, something you said to me last week really resonates or helped me and so forth, it's all worthwhile, right? We get so much out of it. We want to give a little bit back. And that's what we want to do with these. This is what we want to do with these sessions. I want people to stick around and join us for the closed webinar. We've got, you know, 3 or 4 more questions we want to go deeper into. And again, I want people to come and join us and certainly send questions through to us, because, you know, having Paul here, asking those questions is a fantastic asset for any company to have. So thanks again for joining us for episode 2. Episode 3 is in a couple of weeks, so we welcome everyone there back for that. We've got Pete Hughes from Aura Technology joining us for that. So thanks once again. Click on now over to the closed webinar series, and we'll speak to you the other side. The rest of you have a great rest of your evening. Thank you. So I guess we go into the closed webinar series now, and I'm really keen to get a little bit more about you, what you're about, and so forth. And you know, we've got a couple of questions I want to go into, but you know, what's the reason why you sold your previous company? You know, to take the leap of faith and selling something that's been successful and was successful for a number of years, going into this massive leap of faith into this new industry. And I know it's something that you've done for a long time, but certainly going into a new world, which MSPs are, an interesting world, which we know it is. Tell me a little bit about why you did that. What, you know, and how that's helped you or moved you forward.
Go back to 2015. My business was systemized, and I'm a big fan of systemizing businesses.
Oh, I know.
I mean, you know, this one of the things that attracted me to the MSP world is he's so systemizable. I love IT Glue and IT Boost and all the other things because it just makes your life easy. Not that all MSPs systemize their own procedures, but anyway, that's another question.
That's another webinar.
That's a long webinar. That one. So my business was systemized. I was the face of it, but I didn't do much of the work.
Okay.
The average workday for me involved taking my daughter to school, going to the cinema, you know, few emails, very little client contact.
Sure.
I went in on Thursdays to see my staff. We call those angry Thursdays.
Right.
No matter how systemized your business, someone will still leave a box in the middle of the floor, just because they can. And I remember sitting chatting to my wife, and it was a case of, look, the business is complete, it's finished. You know, we could go on and do 3 million, but we've got to get back in and break it and reinvent it as you do. But currently it's finished. It's quite profitable, very high levels of monthly recurring revenue. The owner doesn't need to be there. And do you know what? I've done 10 years. It's time. So it took a year to sell it. It was a difficult process. The due diligence was a sheer nightmare. But you know what? It was the best payday I'll ever have. It was a great thing to do. Why am I working with MSPs? I got bored. I took 6 months off. Sold it in March 2016, and in September my wife sent me back to work. It was literally a conversation of, if you don't go back to work.
Smart lady.
Very smart lady. She I like the MSP world because it's so broad, it's so big, and also from my research I could see that there were very few. So my sweet spot is working with people somewhere between about 300,000 and $1 million turnover.
Okay.
And that's not for my. I have a service called the MSP Marketing Edge, which is delivering content. That's for anybody. But when I work with someone closely in one of my mastermind groups, or just in general, however we're engaging, my sweet spot is around about 300K to maybe about 1.5.
So are they more a lifestyle business at that time?
No, I wouldn't. A lifestyle business is a business where you have no life because you're doing all the work.
Which is true.
I do work with a couple of people like that, and it's mostly trying to get them out of that trap, because that's a prison.
It is.
It's a prison of your own design that you've locked yourself inside. Once someone's around about 6, 7, 50, and it's by a proper business, I mean, there are staff, you know, you whether you're using Continuum or whether you've got in-house, but the point is there's someone else doing the basic work. That's when you can free yourself up enough to say, right, a couple of hours a day to work on the business. And it's the working on the business that makes the biggest difference. So for me, the passion is freeing people. Like I was free
Yep.
from my business. I've locked myself back in this business for a few years because it's just me. I've got 2 staff. We've got no offices. We make some good money, but it's fun.
Yep.
I'm getting really heavily involved in people's lives, not just their business, but their lives.
Of course.
I like that. I know you like that. As
Yeah,
we've
no,
had so
I do.
many conversations about that.
We have, yeah.
And the goal is to, I mean, one of my clients has this great vision of freeing himself from the business, where the business pays him several £1,000s a month to be in a different country, enjoying a great life.
Yep.
And that's the dream. Because for most people, they are there for the business. And actually, the whole point of having a business is it should feed your lifestyle.
Absolutely.
That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
And too many of us get trapped. And when you spend 20 years trapped in a business like that, you get to your late 40s, your 50s, your early 60s, you're burnt out.
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
gone.
Absolutely.
I'd rather be a 75-year-old, because this is just part of what I do. I'm also acquiring some businesses, which I will own those, but not operate them.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And I want to be 75 with income coming in from management teams that I perhaps talk to once a week. Yeah. That's a great life.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be a multi-millionaire to enjoy a great life or something like that. It's not easy, but it's something you can do with an MSP.
Very much planning for the future.
I think so, yes.
Without a shadow of a doubt. We've actually just had another question come in, which is great. And that is, what's one marketing mistake you see most MSPs making?
Not doing marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, not
I knew that was going to be the answer.
Every day. Because some people do a bit of marketing. Well, you've heard of boom and bust. I mean, a lot of MSPs don't get boom and bust because of recurring revenue.
Of course.
But boom and bust, you haven't quite got enough money in. So you do some marketing and you get some inquiries and you get some leads and activity goes up and you're so busy seeing people doing proposals, selling, delivering, that you stop doing the marketing. And what happens is you kind of do that. I don't see that very often in MSPs because high levels of monthly recurring revenue cushion you from that. But far too many MSPs don't do something. You've got to do something every day. Yep. My primary activity every day is marketing my business. Yep. That's what I'm doing now.
Yep.
You know, that's what I'm doing with my podcast. That's what I'm doing with, my articles. That's what I'm doing with my website, with my networking, with my LinkedIn. Yep. It's all about marketing.
Of course.
And most MSPs are spending their days doing technology stuff.
Yep.
So literally 60 minutes a day changes the world, changes in a year.
And is that all you need?
90 minutes would be better.
Okay, of course.
2 hours would be better.
So you get out what you put in.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, we were talking earlier about LinkedIn, doing an hour of LinkedIn a day.
Yep.
You know, I have clients that have completely changed their fortunes in terms of new clients.
Of course.
Just off doing LinkedIn.
Right.
Just off doing LinkedIn. And I must talk about growing monthly recurring revenues as well, using something like the profit matrix.
Yep.
Which is very, very simply, it's a grid. You get it off the computer. You put it on a wall and it's literally, here are all the services we sell, here are all the clients, and it's little magnets or dots or marks to show who's buying what.
That's right.
And the reason you get that out of the computer is to make it alive, because something that's physical can be seen by your technicians, it can be seen by you, and doing strategic reviews with your clients to fill in the dots.
Of course.
And something as simple as that, working 10 minutes a day on your profit matrix grows your monthly recurring revenue, and a lot of that will drop down to the bottom line as net profit. So that's the biggest mistake is treating marketing like I must get around and doing that.
Yep.
It almost doesn't matter what you do. Almost doesn't matter what you do, as long as you do something.
No, it makes perfect sense. Actually, I did a presentation last week in Holland about sales playbooks. And one of the lessons, a key takeaways to that is having a sales playbook, however small, even if it's one page, is still better than having nothing.
Define for us what a sales playbook is.
Sales playbook just defines how you would go to market with a certain product or service or whatever. A playbook comes from the sporting analogy of American football. Normally, Hut 34 means you do this, do that, do whatever. And a sales playbook is to find how you go to market with a certain product or service. Who are the key players? What are the tools involved in that, and so forth. So that's very similar. What you get out, what you put in.
Yes.
Right. Simple as that.
Yes.
You do a lot of work with MSPs. We've spoken about that. Tell us one. I'd love to hear a story of how you've gone in and someone's had that light bulb moment. We all have light bulb moments. But an MSP's had that light bulb moment. We've gone, you know what? This actually resonates with me. I can see how this can build my business. Give me a success story of how you've gone in and it's actually clicked that light bulb and you've been able to help transform that business.
Yep. I mean, probably the one that jumps to mind is a client of mine called Andrew, lovely guy. Standard business, up to a few years ago, trapped in it as the technical director, trying to do third line work, getting dragged into second and first line work. It's the story of most owners.
Yep.
And their monthly recurring revenue was quite low. And most of their, so now I always get these figures wrong. They've gone from something like 2,000 a month recurring to it's either 64 or 46. I can never remember which way around. Still a fairly big jump, and that's in like 2-3 years.
Yeah, wow.
And so the overall turnover is up, but it's not up at that dramatic level. What's happened is they have to do less project work and have to do less selling.
Sure.
So he knows every month, let's say it's 46K, drops in by direct debit on the 5th of the month or whatever it is, and that's guaranteed. So therefore, we can buy more staff.
Yep.
And we can take on some apprentices, and he can replace himself as the technical head.
Yep. He can work on his business.
Exactly. Yep. All of that's come from that profit matrix thing I was just talking about.
Sure.
Literally getting it out of the PSA, banging it on a wall and working it. And in fact, he did a series of strategic lunches with his clients. Mm-hmm. So all of the extra revenue was from existing clients. That's not the new client stuff is completely separate. Took a client to lunch, local restaurant to show that you're supporting local businesses, and you book at the same table. Perhaps you go there once or twice a week. Table at the back of the restaurant. You get the client sitting with their back to the restaurant so they can't be distracted. You sit looking at them. And the reason for taking them out of lunch is you don't want them at your offices because it's not very interesting, really. Sure. Everyone thinks it's exciting with screens and amazing. It's not, is it? We all know it's a bit dull. You don't want it at their offices because they'll see that as a 20-minute coming to talk about tech problems. You get them off.
Distractions and everything.
Lunch buys you 60 to 90 minutes. Yep. And that strategic review is you talking about their business. Where are we taking this business? What's coming up in the future? What are your expansion plans? What do you like? It's all the why, what and how questions.
Sure.
All open questions. It's one of those where you want to be doing 10% of the talking and you want them to be doing 90%.
Yep.
And if you've got the profit matrix done out and you've gone and studied it and said, right, that's interesting. So this is a regulated client, but they don't buy dark web monitoring, for example, or they don't buy so enhanced endpoint protection. Look at me using technical terms there.
Yeah.
I'm not a tech.
I almost fainted.
You did. I need to sit down. But they don't buy these things. Interesting. I need to steer the conversation that direction. Because you wouldn't then sit there and say, you don't buy this. Because that's not going to do it. But you would say, so one of the things our other regulated clients like you are really hot on is, how do you think that would affect you if this happened? And you can use that profit matrix to steer them. And Andrew would go out for, let's say, 2 or 3 lunches a week and come back to 2 of those with opportunities. And it all just sells to lots and lots of monthly recurring revenue. Just beautiful, just beautiful.
Really good one, which leads on, perfect segue to a certain extent, to the next question from people on board here. And do you recommend in-person or digital channels or a mix of both?
For marketing?
Yep.
Well, I think you have to do digital because obviously, it's 2019. However, and as I mentioned LinkedIn earlier, I think Facebook is a great tool to reach decision makers in their downtime. It's a great way past gatekeepers because they don't have gatekeepers on Facebook. However, next year, I'm going to declare next year for my clients the year of print and phone. Because we've been doing some trials with some of that. The wonderful thing about having lots of clients is they do your R&D for you.
Yep.
So I could talk for many hours about stuff that doesn't work. And we found stuff that does work. Here's an example. We're all aware of the 2020 problem.
Yep.
Which was a phrase that sort of we coined at the beginning of the year. It's the end of Windows 7 on January 14th, and that's 2010, of course. And I have one particular client in a rural part of the UK who sent out 100 postcards. So he bought some data, so that they don't know him, bought some data, they sent out a postcard, literally had a logo, or the start button of Windows 7.
Yeah.
If any of the computers in your business have this start button, you're at major risk on January the 14th, 2020, next year. Turn it over, brief explanation of why, which is that Microsoft is killing Windows 7, exaggerated language, but it works.
No, that's fine.
Take action now, go to this URL. And at that URL, they could download a report or a guide or a book about the 2020 problem. And then it listed all the other stuff. And it was not written in the technical sense. It was written for layman, the layman who doesn't really know. And it was a case of, look, if you've got this picture, or your login screen looks like this, you've got a problem, call us. Now, so he sent out 100 of those. I forget how many visits, had some visits to the page, no clients, no leads, nothing. This is, but he knew that people had been going there because he could look at the analytics.
Yeah.
Here's the second part of that. We've had the print, then he picked up the phone and he rang those 100 people. I forget how many he spoke to. It was a surprisingly high proportion, because we all know that, you pick up the phone to 100 people you've never spoken to, you're going to get hold of 10 at the most.
Yeah.
He had a lot more than 10 conversations, 7 meetings, 5 new clients.
Wow.
Now, that's last month.
Yep.
Now, that has the advantage of, there's a deadline, which is the deadline is, let's be honest, it's kind of, 2 months away now. But also print and phone. And increasingly, I'm pushing the MSPs I work with to do more offline.
Okay,
so if I was to design a perfect set of channels for an MSP, you'd be doing stuff on LinkedIn, you'd be on Facebook. If you're in a vertical, I'd have you doing a Facebook group. If you were in a vertical targeting retail or hospitality, I'd have you on Instagram. Instagram isn't for B2B, but the retailers and the restaurant owners, they use Instagram almost exclusively for their marketing. So sometimes you have to go onto someone else's platform to reach them.
For sure.
So you'd be on those platforms. You would obviously have your website. We're doing a blog. You'd be collecting email addresses off a data capture on your website, and data capture, you have to give them something in return for their contact details. So we call that an ethical bribe, like a guide or a book or something.
For sure.
So all of those digital things, and then email newsletters. But then I would say, as often as you could, send something. Well, you need to phone everyone that's in any of your databases. Just phone them. Don't worry about it. You're going to get told no a lot, but just now and again, you'll get the right person at the right time who says, "Oh, I'm so glad you called because." Brilliant. But print, send stuff. I have clients that send newsletters, and we're talking a real old-fashioned. It's a bit of, it's well designed, printed. It's a bit of paper. It cuts through. It sits on desks. I have a client who sent out some cards 4 years ago, and that turned into a new client last week. They literally rang him up and said, "Hey, I think I've had this in my drawer for like a few months, a few years," and it was 4 or 5 years old. Just a quick tip on the newsletter one: if you do a print newsletter, the content for that can come off your blog. You can repurpose the content.
Of course.
And actually, you can have a look to say, right, of all the blog content we've published in the last 3 months or whatsoever, what's been the most popular? So you look at, or you could do the same with social media. What do people engage with most on LinkedIn or Facebook? It's this content. That's what goes into the print.
Great.
Yeah.
It's
about touch points. Sorry, Scott. Sorry to interrupt. It's about touch points.
No, it is.
So, I'm not really a salesperson. You're the salesperson, but from the conversations you and I had when I interviewed you for my podcast, sales touch points, and you have to touch point someone dozens, if not hundreds of times.
Absolutely. Well, and to be honest with you, that was another question I was going to say. Do you have a certain cadence that you use? How many times do you touch that potential prospect before you abandon it or whatever?
You do, don't you?
We do, and we have a stock standard that we use, and 3 strikes you're out can work, and it depends on what your company does and your time and your investment in that side of the business. So actually, it's funny you were saying about physical posts and so forth. I remember working for a company that received some marketing things in the mail, and it was about helping to build your business. It was from a bank in America, and the first thing that came through was a bag of nails. The second bit was a bit of wood, and the third and final touch point was a hammer.
That's brilliant.
And so much so that we actually rang them up and spoke to the bank to see if they were applicable. So, those things do work. We have a final question. I think we need to start to look to bring this down. There's 2 final questions I want to ask you. One is another. Yeah, no. One is from the audience, and I think it's a really good one actually. And that is, what's the best low budget marketing tactic for MSPs?
LinkedIn.
Yep.
Just LinkedIn. There's no LinkedIn.
Just content on LinkedIn,
no,
or
the three C's we talked about earlier. So connect, content, call.
Yep. So
you use LinkedIn. It's a conduit. It's a platform.
Absolutely.
But it's right now today. It's where everyone is, and I say everyone, the people you want to reach. So every day, you could get Sales Navigator, which is LinkedIn's premium.
Yep.
But you don't need it really. You can connect 18 connection requests.
That's the next step.
That's the unlimited plan.
Okay.
That's where you can do as much as you want. And if you're a full-time salesperson, you need that.
Yep.
Because you want to work LinkedIn all day, every day.
Yeah, of course.
But if you're just the owner or the manager of an MSP and you just want to do a bit more LinkedIn, an hour a day. You don't need to pay for it.
Sure.
Just get on LinkedIn, up to 18 connections a day. You could automate your connections. So I use something called Dux Soup, which is dux-soup.com, I think. And that's a very clever little program which sits as an extension in your Chrome and automates visiting and connection requesting the people that you want to connect with.
Wow. Okay.
It comes with a health warning because it's technically against LinkedIn's terms and conditions, but it's very hard to detect, I would imagine. And all it's doing is automating human behavior. It's very clever. And that's not a huge amount of money. It's, let's say, $20 a month, something like that. But whether you do it manually or automate it, you need to be growing your network all the time. Then, so that's the first C. Content is pasting something in every day. I mean, every day an MSP generates its own content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone gets breached.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we saw an email forwarder hack, or just, this happened. You know, so there's content in the tickets. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Sit and look at the tickets. There's content in there, but the more original you can make it, the better. Right now, there's a real trend on LinkedIn for grabbing your phone, talking to the camera.
Yeah.
Do you know, if you can do that with some confidence, do it.
Absolutely.
Great stuff.
Absolutely.
Content is also about messaging people. I was talking to one of my clients today. He's been doing really well. Today was my client day. I don't normally talk to all my clients on my day. I have like a day a week where I speak to my clients, and he's done really well. He doesn't pester people on LinkedIn much, to use his own words, and he's just started every day sending 10 of them a message saying, hey, we've never spoken before, but we've been connected for 3 months. Oh, sorry, he'll say, hi, Scott, so to make sure it's personal. We've not spoken before. We've been connected for however many months. I just wanted to introduce myself. Off the back of that, 2 meetings. Just from sending 10 of those out today.
Wow.
And then making sure when he sends a message to them a few months later, it's not the same message, because of course you see the messaging.
Of course,
so it's just working LinkedIn every day, because it is a good platform for talking to people. So there was connect, content, and then the final one is call. And this is the thing that makes the difference, and everyone's
100%
uncomfortable.
agree.
Pick up the phone, Google the number, call them. It's not cold calling. Nope. It's not warm calling.
No.
It's somewhere in between. We're connected on LinkedIn. I hope you don't mind me calling. I just wanted to reach out to you and see if there's any, see if it would be worth us having a chat. It's almost one of those that you don't want to script, because you want to come across as natural. You don't want to be that telesales idiot on the phone.
Absolutely.
Hello, can I speak to Mr. Pause?
Yeah.
You know, you want to be just a guy who's connected on LinkedIn, or a guy or a girl who's connected on LinkedIn to another guy or girl. You're picking up the phone. It's the kind of call that 9 times out of 10 you yourself would reject. You'd be annoyed with it. But again, it's about getting the right message in front of the right person at the right time.
100% agree.
And we know the phone works. Can I give a super quick power tip for how to make phone calls?
Please.
No one likes making phone calls. Even sales professionals don't like making phone calls. So get yourself 2 glasses, empty glasses. Let's say you want to do 50 dials a day, because 50 dials equals 2 conversations, pretty much. Get 50 paper clips, put them in the first glass. Dial the number. As you're dialing, you move 1 paper clip from the full glass into the empty glass. Right, nothing happens on that. Dial the second number, move the paper clip. You get the idea, yeah? So you are incentivizing yourself to do 50 dials, and when you're about a third of the way through, you get quite excited because your glasses start to fill up. When you're in the sort of the second 50%, so you've done 25, 30. Look, there are more done than not. There's 2 factors at play here. One is we've gamified. We've gamified making calls.
Which is true, yeah,
and we need to gamify everything, because at our heart, we've got children's brains in there. So the more it's a game, the more fun it is. The second thing is we're also showing our brain, this is all we've got to do to complete a task.
Sure.
Brains love completed tasks. And you know, it's when you're 1 or 2 calls in, you could give up quite easily. When you're 30 or 40 calls in, you've only got 10 calls to do. That's it. And on a pure numbers game, if you dial 50 numbers every day for 5 days a week, that's 250 dials a week. That's 10 conversations. You're going to generate 1 or 2 meetings a week.
Of course.
That changes everything.
It really does.
It really does.
No, it really does. We've got the final question. Final question. Really appreciate you being here for the last 45 minutes and going through all this stuff. Hopefully the people out there have gained a lot of information. Even if they just take one away, it's fantastic, right? It means that, you know, they've got the ability of improving their business in some way. The last one, and we're going back to the MSP world for a second. Is there any marketing trends that you see that you think is leading the way in MSPs, or MSPs are starting to get? You know, is there that one marketing trend in our world that you want to highlight, or you think go after it because it's going to be a nugget?
Cybersecurity.
Yeah.
and cybersecurity first. And
Sure.
I think I can never say this, MSSP,
Yep.
Managed Security Services, whatever. I think, so you go back 10 years, most people were break fix.
Yep.
Would you agree?
Yep.
Few what we know now as MSPs around mostly break fix.
Yep.
Go forward 10 years, I think, and this is not a difficult prediction to make, most people will be cybersecurity first. So the core support.
We're seeing that spin now, right? Yep.
I agree, but I think there are very few people actually doing it.
Yeah, agreed.
I've had a few clients who've rebranded and they've gone in cybersecurity first. And they get paid to do security audits.
Yep.
And as part of the fixing process, you need to shift your IT support to them. So there's still an MSP in the background, but they're using security as a sale. I think, someone asked me a question a couple of years ago, what's the future of IT support? It's security. Isn't it?
I agree.
I can see that.
100% agree.
It's just,
100%.
I mean, even in the 3.5 years I've been in this world, the number of breaches have gone up. The number of, every day there's a big hack, clever things like email forwarders, people sitting watching your emails for 6 months rather than just get in, do some damage, lock it. So it's becoming more sophisticated. And if it's true that we've got these big criminal gangs and it's all from certain countries that are doing this, from an MSP point of view, this is brilliant because as the opportunity, we can't fix stuff anymore because it's unfixable. It's not economical to do it. We can manage their services, but automation's very prevalent. This is the world where automation is going to hit MSPs first. Because if you can automate it, you will. Vendors will automate it. We're seeing huge outsourcing of actual support. I mentioned Continuum earlier. Obviously their game has changed in the last few weeks. That's become a bigger player. So we're going to see more and more stuff that needs people to do stuff going away. I think the smart move for any MSP is to say, right, we don't need to do it today, but we need to peg our future on being cybersecurity experts. Because the owners and managers, the decision makers we want to reach, they're kind of savvy, a lot more tech savvy than they used to be, but they are very cybersecurity savvy. They're scared. They're particularly scared when it happens to someone they know. And that's the real opportunity. It's like when you get burgled. I've been burgled twice when I lived in Nottingham. And suddenly security was very important to us. And this is 20 years ago. But it's like when you hear about a friend getting an illness. Suddenly life insurance becomes more. And I think that the MSPs that say, right, this is where we need to go. We need to get good at, in the UK, cyber essentials. We need to get good at this. We need to understand dark web monitoring. We need to understand things like Know Before, which is the online awareness training. We need to start delivering all of this. And we need to make sure our technicians are up to speed on this, because as we're sitting talking to people, there's going to come a point where suddenly cybersecurity is big in their brain, and we want to be straight in with a solution for them.
No, absolutely. And, one of the things that Auvik does is, as we say, we're doing one of our network assessments. You can secure it. You can't secure it if you can't see it.
Yes.
And that's where we come into play. So come and speak to us about that afterwards. Bit of a plug there. So, look, we want to wrap up. Okay. What I want to do is say thank you so much for spending time with me today. Really, it helps us put these sessions together. It's all about the people joining us, but it's about the people watching as well, in 1 week time, 2 weeks time, 3 weeks time, like we've spoken about before. So I really want to thank you for coming all that way. What is it? 3-4 minutes from home?
This place is about 5 minutes.
So I appreciate you doing that. Thank you everyone for joining in and tuning in today. We've got another one of these, as I said, in a couple of weeks time. Paul, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching. And if you want to look at this in the nuggets that Paul's given us over the past 45 minutes, you can see the replays on Facebook. And again, if you want to get in touch with us through Auvik or through the MSP marketing company, you can do so via the web, and we welcome anyone to get in touch. So thanks very much for joining us, and have a lovely evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.